Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a 1 vs 1. Yes, indeed, it is another 1 vs 1. I've not really gotten any good 2 vs 2s as of late, so I'm rather resorting to cast 1 vs 1 until, of course, it's perhaps Novice Monday. But then again, there's a lot of games that's primarily being sent in for Monday Novice fights specifically, which of course is nice, but it's rather leaving out the rest of the week for, more regular games of regular levels and such, which is leaving me in a bit of a pickle and thus forcing me to use more of my own games, which of course some people seem to dislike, but then they also seem to casually forget if I don't get any other games, well, I have to use my own. So there you go, just a brief explanation of that, and of course feel free to send in your game. Of course I can't guarantee, because I'll probably then get a whole slew of games all of a sudden, and of course there'll be some I can't cast. Again, that's sort of the problem with this. Well, the sort of interesting dilemma of this, I want to cast a lot of games, but I can't cast all of them. Some of them for different and varying reasons. But nonetheless, I might as well try and make another request, which sometimes seem to work. So I mean, 2 vs 2, send them in, but of course do try to ensure some decent level or some interesting going on, because I do sometimes get them in when then nothing's happening, or it's very, very sad what's happening. Not very fun to watch, and again, it's sort of also the trouble is finding something you'd imagine other people would like to watch, and that's rather the problem. People like to watch tense games, things where lots of things are happening, daring games, exciting games, and then instead some people might send in where you're sort of like going, what the devil's going on there? Are they purposely being cruel to their own men? Things like that might go through your head when watching some of the games I've seen. And of course people should just send in, of course try to improve, but feel free to send in. Of course I might get a bit annoyed if I see a lot of games and there's absolutely no improvement over that series. Then I might of course be forced to sort of ask the question, are they even, watching my cast, learning from them, or they're just sending in to stroke their own egos? But that's about it. Of course, no intro of the map. Of course, we've already seen this. If you want to know about it, try watching some of all the previous matches on Semois. Of course, I might in the future do one more again, but then again, I think I'll try to sort of stretch it out a bit more so it isn't so often. And that's Semois. And who shall be fighting on here in the southern corner? We are seeing our American friend, eFFoFF. Oh, bother. Here it is, nonetheless. Some chap with some E's, F's, and a single O. Fighting for the 4th Infantry Division. Opposing him shall be OhaYoda. Well, that's easier to sort of get an idea of. Fighting for the 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division Götz von Berlichingen. Perhaps with some minor support from the 2nd SS Panzer Division. But let us get right down to it. Pioneers on the way. Will we also be seeing a Wehrmacht quarters? No. Wait, there was be. I was about to sort of then go sort of, well, perhaps we're going to see a Fort Barracks start like Change did. That would have been interesting, but no. Pioneers ready, heading out towards the west. Barracks going up for eFFoFF. Oh, I could never chosen something simple. Oh well. But barracks going up, engineers heading eastwards. Good so far. Wehrmacht quarters almost done. Volksgrenadier on the way. All quiet so far on the western front, I'd say. Again, you're not really going to find much fighting in the earlier minutes of the game, unless of course your opponent or one of them decides to go for that sort of disruption strategy. So I might sort of mention, throw in a jeep, hunt down your opponent, do nasty things to him, and of course try to disrupt his starting strategy, the amount of territory he can seize, and then of course gain the advantage that way. Certainly had a game like that yesterday on Semois as well. In fact, there's been an awful lot of games on Semois as of late, which I find rather peculiar. And we are seeing a bit of barbed wire going down here, but not from the Wehrmacht player. That's usually, you in fact see the Wehrmacht player being the one to lay down the wire around his fuel point right here, not the American player. So this is certainly a bit more unusual, but of course it's not completely unseen or unheard of. Riflemen ready though, heading towards the center. Volksgrenadier is doing the same. Second team of the Volksgrenadier moving out. Pioneers firing off this area. So far, so good. No idea what level they were, these chaps. And of course, sadly, some players, when they're sending in replays, they don't really mention what. They might mention, well, I'm level 12, or my opponent was level 12, but they won't mention their names in game, which can be a bit peculiar and a bit difficult, of course, to take care of. And sometimes when trying to search the leaderboards, I won't actually get any results for whatever reasons, which makes things a bit more difficult. Rifleman Volkswagen is facing off, first match of the day. Jeep joining in as well with its light air-cooled Browning machine gun. And someone tried to correct me saying that's a 50 caliber. No, that's a 30 caliber. Air-cooled Browning. I know these things. And Volkswagen is joining up here, but whatever shall they do? Whatever shall they do? Firing away at the Jeep, not with the rifleman, but those chaps inside the building. And again, note, just briefly pausing, these sides are pretty much blind, unless of course someone blows a big fat hole in them, they're useless. So again, if your opponent is hiding in this building, going up here is great, and if you keep your troops in there while being shot at from there, you're not gaining anything from it. Volkswagen is firing away at the Jeep and laying down sandbags sneakily enough. Rifleman trying to flank in on those Volkswagen, of course now sandbags going to make it easier for them to hold the position right there. Volkswagen dies, he needs to get those out and into the fight. They're doing nothing except dying for no good reason. And of course now he has sandbags to sort of help to evacuate OhaYoda. Get your troops into the fight, and there we bloody well go. Rifleman down. Jeep also taking a bit of fire. Now of course the riflemen are slightly outgunned in this measure. One more rifleman down. Jeep charges forward, perhaps hoping to push around a bit or disrupt the lines. Yes, there we go. Forwards, but of course getting shot up now itself. MG42 ready behind. Engineer sneaking about very, very far behind. Jeep taking an awful lot of damage. One rifleman team heavily wounded, a Volkswagen team as well. And now the Germans can advance if they so decide to bother with that. Pioneers trying to do a bit of work right there, but getting shot up by the Jeep. Rifleman moving in. And the Pioneers need to retreat. Awfully rusty my voice is today, it seems. Another MG42 on the way. MG42 pointing here, and well, there's a slight problem right there. Of course, the sort of flank is a bit uncovered, and of course some opponents, the more clever ones, actually like to flank toward here, so you have to be sort of careful with that. Never mind, there's, I mean, that would be a better sort of way to point it. This, well, it leaves your opponent up to flanking. You want to be careful with that. Jeep getting repaired by the stalwart engineers of eFFoFF, or eFFoFF, or eFFoFF. Knows. Pioneers heading southwards, engineers harassing. MG42 going up, Volkswagen heading southwards to stop the engineers. Other Volkswagen now seizing the point without getting reinforced first. Krieg barracks on the way, skirmish face this. Rifleman heading towards the center. Engineers coming under quite a bit of fire. Pioneers sneaking about in the south. And looks like some engineers are going to harass this fuel point. Rather standard procedure right there. MG42 still exposed. Volkswagen is back ready for reinforcements. Krieg barracks going up. Fuel point being seized. Rifleman moving in against the MG42. Or is it the other one? Oh dear, this is a rather sneaky maneuver moving through here. And looks like the MG42 is going to be severely harassed. It was left out on its own, and it's not put in a building, which could have granted some survivability, but no. Instead, it's getting viciously flanked because its flanks were not covered. And of course, there's a main problem right here. Oh dear, the MG42 is going to be lost. The enemy won't be able to pick it up, but still, I describe that as pretty bad. But now he's going in here, harassing the fuel himself. Will he be able to do so? Krieg barracks almost up. Things looking a bit unfortunate right here in the center for OhaYoda. Having lost one MG42 already, again, be very careful about leaving your MG42s out like that. A clever opponent like eFFoFF right here will flank it and will do some nasty bits to it. And for example, a Jeep in these cases can be very good in, for example, you know, finding the proper path to flank about an MG42 that is left isolated. And if he really wanted it to be at least somewhat effective on its own, he should have placed it into building. The building, for example, right here, lots of windows, perhaps some barbed wire to make it harder to sort of just charge it. And there we go. But no, he decided against it. Pioneers with flamethrowers, half-track ready. Probably on loan from the 2nd SS. The 17th did not have any armored half-tracks. In fact, Volksgunners under fire. Riflemen and Volksgunners with MP40s facing off against each other, but running past each other apparently. Those Volksgunners could actually have won that had they bothered to focus on the rifleman. Fuel point have ceased. In fact, Pioneers running away from some rather angry engineers, annoyed that they ruined the perfect barbed wire work. Volksgunners getting gunned down. The MD42 is not supporting. Jeep coming under fire from Panzerfaust. MD42 still doing absolutely bollocks. Half-track not doing anything as well. Jeep gone. No idea why he isn't doing anything with that half-track to really support his troops at the front. Come on. OhaYoda, a bit of tempo, a bit of doing something bloody right. I mean, you can't really have Volksgunners fighting on their own. That's not really their task. They're there to fight with other troops. They're more of a synergy troop, of a combined arms troop, or at least fighting with other Volksgunners troop. Oh dear, Fraps. And my apologies, sometimes Fraps just likes to be a bitch. But half-track is moving in. Finally, MD42 setting up in the cafe. Pack 38 also moving out. So far, no anything that could really, except the supplier, but nothing else that could really indicate armored vehicles on the way from eFFoFF. Half-track moving about. Pathing seems a bit dodgy right there at the moment. MD42 taking some losses from the rifleman in heavy cover. Heavy cover protects really nicely against MGs. Half-track though moves up to flank. Good move there, suppresses the rifleman. And then decides to move instead of continue to fire them down. That was a bit of a mismovement right there. And then it moves into the cemetery. My goodness, if opponent has... If eFFoFF has sticky bombs right there, that could have been a nice moment to do so. But no, instead he runs into the church. Apparently the rifleman feels safer in the house of God. Preaching the gospel of Garand. Half-track setting up, and of course buildings aren't... The church isn't really great for infantry since there's not a lot of windows they can actually use. A bit unfortunate that. Volksgunners reinforcing. Grenadiers now on the way. Pioneers and engineers right next to each other, but apparently oblivious to each other's presence. Volksgunners with MP40s running around here. Engineers getting ready. Pioneers popping out with a flamethrower in hand. Preaching the gospel of fire into the church, converting the non-believers. And there we go, forcing them out with fire and flame. Scorching quite a few Americans right there. Engineers sneaking about in the north, some with flamethrowers, some with minesweepers. Volksgunners need to get their act together, and this half-track needs to act. And of course some engagement right here. Pioneers burning the engineers. Oh dear, oh dear. Still nothing that could... We are seeing supply and upgrades, but nothing else for the riflemen. Though we're seeing a lot of riflemen, but no upgrades for them. But we are not seeing any M8s either. I'm not entirely comfortable with that. Usually you're either going to see BARs or hand grenades, possibly both, or you're going to see M8s. Currently we're not seeing either. Really, we're seeing a lot of riflemen. We're seeing some of the support structures up for them, but we're not seeing them being upgraded. Which I can't help but feel is a bit worrying. Half-track needs to move in to support those pioneers. Come on, half-track, stop being drunk. Grenadiers ready. Apparently 2 teams of grenadiers. Not bad, I suppose. Sturm Army on the way, riflemen forced away. Medic station rather exposed. Didn't notice there was a medic station up by eFFoFF. Rather planning for the long fight, it seems. Good, good. Riflemen moving in on these Volksgunners up in the north. Volksgunners need to stop taking territory and get into cover instead, but apparently no. OhaYoda, oh wait, there we go. Medic station under fire, riflemen advancing. Still no upgrades or anything, it seems. Grenadiers and riflemen facing off in the marketplace, or what remains of it. Getting into the building, 3 windows, that's certainly going to help. Half-track moving in. Come on, half-track. Half-track apparently seems a bit unsure what to support. But there we go, heading towards the Grenadiers to assist them. Where things are looking a bit dicey. Volksgunners getting into the church, but again, no, windows are not really effective for infantry in this church for some reason. MG42 and Owls are moving in. Grenadiers need to evacuate. This is not a good fight for them again. 6 against 1. They're simply getting shot up, and now the half-track is flanking. But again, get those grenadiers out before they're lost. OhaYoda, there we go. But you should have done so earlier. Oh dear. Riflemen getting torn up and forced away. Grenadiers probably will be reinforced by the half-track. That is, of course, one nice thing about it. Engineers penetrating into the south. Pack 38. Grenadiers with Panzerschrecks. Volkswagen is evacuating the church. And eFFoFF is finally getting a motor pool. Finally something to stop that half-track. Schützenpanzerwagen, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251. And the medic station is going to be pretty exposed. And interesting enough, we've seen armor doctrine right away. Barely any sort of things that will indicate it, but still he's gone for it. A bold move. Grenadiers need to stop taking territory while under fire. Rather than getting shot up by the half-track, getting suppressed. In fact, the half-track is a nice message to sort of provide all-around suppression in cases where you might be attacked from all sides. Grenadiers need to get into cover. Come on. OhaYoda, you really need to learn that bit about cover and about getting the most out of your units instead of having them stand out in the open and getting shot up, you stupid bastard. In the north, Volkswagen was shot down by riflemen. Again, OhaYoda doesn't quite seem to have an idea of how infantry fights the best, and seems to be suffering some losses that could have been avoided quite often. And now the M8 moves in. Grenadiers need to retreat, or at least get into the half. And they are getting into the half-track. Half-track though needs to get to safety. MG42 not really doing too well there. I probably won't. The M8 Greyhound continuing the hunt. Pack 38 ready to cover, if possible. And as of course the half-track gets shot up first. Gunner killed. No, it's not moving towards the pack. My God, why isn't he moving it towards the pack? And now he just lost an M8 half-track for no apparent reason. He probably could have saved it had he moved it towards here, I mean. And he lost the MG42. That's... oh, God. I mean, he did alright in the beginning, and then he sort of just... quite magnificently fumbled like no one else. Lost Volkswagen, lost a half-track, lost an MG42 again. I mean, know when to retreat, know when to stand your ground. Flamethrowers versus an MG42, retreat. I mean, the MG42 that is. Half-track being hunted down by an M8. Get it to safety behind the Pack 38. Don't pull it away, you stupid... oh. That one was quite frustrating. Storm Armory up, Nebelwerfer ready. Grenadiers, Volkswagen, apparently the MP40 survived. Heading towards the center, which is rather now open to the Americans. Heading north here, clearing out the Americans. Some Grenadiers with a Panzerschreck moving about on their own, not good. American anti-tank gun ready.
We're losing ground out there.
Need to advance through here. Come on, move it. Panzerschreck Grenadiers not dealing with this armored car, but now they are. Firing, missing, taking fire themselves. German troops streaming into the center. And getting into the cafe again. Why is he doing this? There's absolutely no coverage from those windows, that side. I mean, that's just a waste. Apparently Mr. OhaYoda really needs to learn some basic mathematics about windows and things that actually fire out of them. Otherwise he's going to lose. Pack 38 needs to get up forwards. Grenadier with an MG42. Central victory point being secured. And the M8 advances, of course, the Pack 38. Of course, in those cases when you need to get it somewhere, uncloak it and then move it. Don't move it while it's cloaked. Rifleman getting shot up, but apparently doing quite nicely despite that. Retreating, though, in the face of such fire. Nebelwerfer is now opening up on the Americans. Panzerschreck Grenadiers moving in. getting shot up. Riflemen, engineers with flamethrowers. Nebelwerfer rockets landing everywhere. Grenadiers retreating. Engineers sneaking about in the south. Nice with mining. Apparently no mining at all from OhaYoda, but eFFoFF. Mining quite well. Good show, in fact. Quite impressive. And of course, absolutely no minesweepers from OhaYoda. Riflemen out in the open. Do the Grenadiers stop up to actually use that LMG-42 they're locking around? Again, note, the LMG-42 only fires when standing still. There we go, opening up on the Riflemen. Not achieving much though. Not achieving much at all. Mine triggered. Pioneers dead. Riflemen down. False Grenadiers need to move in. Pioneers as well.
We're losing ground out there.
Oh well, apparently OhaYoda is being a bit cautious now, laying down mines. Finally securing what he can here, but let's just briefly pause again. You don't take territory faster with 2 units near a point. Only one can do it at a time. Do so and then have the other unit do something else, perhaps taking territory, perhaps laying down bomber, perhaps providing cover, but don't have 2 units that closely bunched up ever near a victory point. Ever. You won't gain anything from it. In fact, you might end up making yourself a bloody easier target. So there you go, let us return to the fight. M8 on the move. Whatever is it up to, that sneaky M8? Apparently not much.
Supply is ours.
American sneaking through in the sense again. The MT-42 again won't do much unless he's coming through here or here. When he's coming from here, which is the most likely direction when your opponent's base is right there, it's not going to do much. And now grenades are being prepared. One MG-42 gunner down. LMG gunners firing away as well, though they're not really in good cover. They're not firing from the best position. MG-42 needs to abandon the cafe. Oh, for heaven's sake, OhaYoda, you did so well in the beginning with barbed wire, sandbags and all that, and now you're just throwing it all away. MG-42 firing away at the Riflemen. Not really achieving much though. Again, I am watching it closely to sort of see what sort of effectiveness it actually has, but I'm still not entirely convinced, to be honest. Well, come on, move it, mate. See some points, do something. Again, don't be so passive with all of your infantry. And reinforce some of them, god damn it. Riflemen moving about, medics moving in. American medics apparently already one team has been reformed. Half-track not scavenged for munitions, not a good sign. Sturmgeschütz sphere being called in. Will this turn the tide for the 17th? I don't know. But Rifleman advancing. Again, he's clumping up his units around the points. Spread them out. Cover each other. Don't just stand them about like that. I mean, you're gaining absolutely nothing. Engineers with Pioneers with getting shot up. Oh dear, a huge force of Americans are moving in. Pioneers lost. German troops need to retreat, in particular that Grenadier team with only one LMG-42. Oh, come on. This is just tragic. Riflemen and Grenadiers going up against each other. Firing away, no grenades being used by either side, it seems. I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. What is the current situation? Well, it's not really good for the Wehrmacht friend. He's not really getting the most out of his units by a long shot. His tactics are, for now, actually pretty appalling. I mean, he had a good start, but then, I mean, he keeps making a massive mistake with his cafe. Again, he seems to really be convinced these 2 windows are functional. They aren't. They aren't, OhaYoda. They are rubbish. Don't use them like that. But he keeps doing it. He sticks infantry in it. MG-42's in it, and it does absolutely nothing. He doesn't use grenades for his grenadiers in cases where they would get the enemy out into the open. He clumps his troops around points when the enemy is firing at him. I mean, gods. It's not really good at all. Nor is he getting any minesweepers, which he definitely ought to be doing. and so on. There's a lot of mistakes going on here, and there's a lot of really sad things going on here. Now he's moving in a Stuk 4, and something tells me it won't be a pretty sight, because I'm rather suspecting he's just going to be charging it in without any support. On the other hand, eFFoFF is doing actually pretty well. Good usage of mines, good usage of aggression. Medic station, supply at upgrades. 3 years in fact, getting a second one. Good. He has grenades and probably has sticky bombs. That would certainly surprise me. Now he's going for the weapon support center. And a mortar. Good move right there. And of course he's kept the M8s alive. So far so good for our eFFoFF. But let's go look at OhaYoda and hope he can turn things around. He's gone defensive, not really the thing that's going to help him. In this case, no, the fire force is forced away by a single Sturmgeschütz. Hooray. Grenadiers now under fire, getting shot up by the M8. Needs to pull back. And the Stuk 4 needs to support. Or the Pack 38 needs to. And Grenadiers running away. Puma, now actually a Puma. Now that it's been upgraded with the turret and the 50mm gun. And that's a 50 caliber machine gun. Much larger than the one on machine gun on the Jeep. Puma on the prowl for a Greyhound. And then the Puma ignores an otherwise potential target. Oh dear, Stuk watching over here. Riflemen laying up. Lots of mines here from either side. Infantry hopefully getting reinforced. Yes, indeed. Pioneers not getting reinforced. No counter sensor or anything.
Ready for orders.
Both victory points are currently in the hands of the 17th SS, which is certainly not fighting like the elite, or certainly the best of the 17th, but probably as the lower end of them, which certainly wasn't fighting too well. And Stuk charges right at the rifleman, getting sticky bombed. No idea why he did that. Engine damaged. MG42 advancing. Grenadiers and Volksgrenadiers on the move with all their automatic weapons. Riflemen getting awfully close to the treads. More sticky bombs. Some getting squished, some getting shot up, but the Stuk still survives. Engine, though, is absolutely a mess. Keep your Stuk supported with infantry. Or basically use the Stuk as an assault gun, you know, something that works with infantry. Puma could be moving in. No, what is he doing? Oh, he's not moving. Right, let's just go again. There's basic tactics. If you have one unit which is fighting in a sort of near a point where it can get away easily, you have unit in front of it. Use another unit if you have it to get around it, behind it, shoot it in the rear. I mean, come on. Don't move it in from the same side and thus give the Greyhound a good time to get out of from that point, mate. Right then, Rifleman getting shot up somehow. Probably because they hit a mine. Or perhaps they got right in front of the MG42 right at this oblique angle. The Puma is then now not doing anything, or is it? Come on, yes, of course now the M8 is getting away. Like predicted. Grenadiers moving in. MP40 equipped Volksgrenadiers. Will the Grenadiers stop up to use their MG42s? There we go, one down. M8 almost gone. Mortar firing. I can hear the thump. The Puma does not continue the hunt for the M8. Mortar firing on the German positions. Pioneers moving in to repair the Stuk 4. Battle phase on the way. German mortar on the way. Nebelwerfer not really being used a lot, it seems. Mortar getting the devil out of there. Infantry inside this building. One thing to note, LMGs don't really do much against units in infantry, so do MP40s. Grenade, though, getting locked. Finally, riflemen get out, get shot up. Numerous grenades right into the building. Second one a bit of a waste, though. Mortar rounds flying, a few troops dead. And again, I mean, don't charge in troops with LMGs. The LMGs is not really an assault weapon. It doesn't fire on the move, so again, that was an absolute waste. That was terrible tactic strategy. I mean, you don't charge in units with an LMG. You use them at range, you keep them, perhaps if you have two units, leapfrog them, then they move one, have the other cover it, then move with the other one. I mean, you know, that sort of stuff. Don't just charge in both. and thus waste those 150 munitions you spend on it. And the Puma stands out in the open right in front of the rifleman, gets sticky bombed. I mean, oh dear, terrible management of his troops. And Grenadiers getting shot up, they need to retreat. My goodness, he just keeps on surprising with his... Oh, gracious God. Puma needs to get away. No, it's getting sticky bombed again. MG42 though, keeping the rifleman a bit down. But dual sticky bombs. Oh no. Puma lost. Still no attempt at salvaging munitions. No registered artillery either. Stuk 4 though is repaired. Panzer Command going up. Anti-tank gun moving southwards. Lots of riflemen moving about, doing quite well with the Americans. Engineer death squads also moving about. M8 fighting away these troops which have not been reinforced and have not been provided with anti-tank assets. Morton now moving in, but again I'm not really being convinced that OhaYoda seems to know what he's doing. I mean, on the other hand, eFFoFF is actually doing pretty well. I mean, he's not really making a lot of mistakes. He's doing pretty well. I mean, he could be a bit more aggressive. You know, gotten some BARs a lot earlier, but I mean, all in all, he's well doing all right. Though he needs to stop attacking from that angle. I mean, he knows this side can't fire, so I mean, he might as well just flank through here first and ensure that. I mean, that's just a bit of a mess right there. But good mining. I mean, good aggressive mining. Very nice. What we like to see here on the Propagandacast, except when he's being done against Germans. M8 now moving in to deal with this mess. Where is it? Panzer Command is up. German infantry once more getting reinforced. Potentially rather swearing loudly at OhaYoda and his questionable general's built ship. Anti-tank gun moving in. Riflemen seizing territory here. Good aggression, good aggression. Mortar firing at the Germans. German mortar firing back. Nebelwerfer not doing anything at all. Wait, there we go. Finally firing it again. Rifleman advancing. Stuk trying its best to cover things. Rifleman running into a mine. Nebelwerfer rockets magnificently hitting absolutely nothing. Rifleman forced away by the Sturmgeschütz. Large fight here. Oh dear, Greyhound mine was hit. Lots of Grenadiers down. Engineers getting absolutely shot up. Rifleman moving in. Oh dear, a Grenadier team is down. And an LMG-42. I mean, when I first saw this, I rather took a sharp intake of breath. I was, oh dear, oh dear. And we are seeing a veteran Z2 infantry team. I mean, I think this is where eFFoFF really makes a blunder, though. I mean, he could have picked that one up and done some terrible, terrible things to Mr. OhaYoda. I mean, Christ. A veteran Z2 rifleman team with an LMG-42. But no, apparently OhaYoda's gods are watching over him, apparently the fatherland is, and ensuring that eFFoFF absolutely ignores it. I mean, I'm not saying... I mean, I'm a bit unsure of the LMG-42 in German hands. In American hands with the veterancy units, it's absolutely insane. There's absolutely no doubt about it. If you're an American commander, you have veteran infantry, you see an LMG-42, pick it up, damn it. There should be absolutely no question there. Greyhound Mines going down. eFFoFF, I mean, OhaYoda not really doing much. They're sort of hanging about, mulling about.
Okay, Grenadiers. Grenadiers ready.
Grenadiers with MG-42s and Panzer-6. More Grenadiers on the way. No armor, though. I mean, he has a Panzer Command. He could have used armor, for example, Panzer 4. And now, eFFoFF has a Pershing. I mean, a Panther would have been a help there, but no, instead he's, of course, now charging in with all of his Grenadiers. The Panzer-6 trying to hit that M8, which is not going to end well because they'll be attacking across open ground, and the M8 can just keep staying at distance, which is where the Panzer-6 are pretty much rubbish. But good usage of getting a Pershing tank, that's only going to help and push things through. But I can definitely sense there's a spot on the Eastern Front for OhaYoda. Who's definitely not showing any Yoda-like skills. Or any sort of skill of the greater magnitude. Charging forwards, lots of MG42s, lots of Panzerschecks. Not stopping up with the MG42's grenades getting lobbed in the path. 2 grenadiers down. Will the M8 make it out of there? Probably. In fact, you're gaining veterancy 3, increasing the damage now. Pershing doing nothing. No armor from the Panzer Command. M8 seems to dodge it all. Pershing still not moving, not sure why. He isn't using that Pershing to charge through here. German troops moving through here. Stuke opening up. Keeping the rifleman at bay. No veterancy force armor. Anti-tank gun opens up on the Stuke. Pershing moves through the center. My goodness, now he's really pushing in for the great assault. MG42 cleared out. Pack 38 blasts away. Pioneers repairing the Stuke, but the Stuke is getting fired at. Possibly armor piercing rounds, and is taking quite a bit of damage now. Pack 38 tries to get away from the Pershing, but it gets shot up. Oh dear. Because again, there was no support for it. It's a support unit. It needs support from other units, otherwise it's going to get shot up. MG42 pins down all of the riflemen. Stuke lost. Why didn't he retreat? It is beyond me. Nebula of rounds flying down. Pershing has taken some damage from the Pack 38, but nothing greater. Pershing moving in. MG42 left on its own. 2 down. Trying to retreat. Don't make it because again, no support. Nothing to really keep the rear secured. A few German infantrymen right here. The rest of what remains of OhaYoda's force. And eFFoFF pretty much has most of the map at this stage. Something on the way from the Panzer Command. I might suspect a Panther. Radius artillery barrage going down here. Doesn't set off the mine though. Damages some riflemen and about it. Pershing watching over the entrance here. Engineers moving in to repair. I mean, this is pretty much game over. I mean, OhaYoda pretty much threw away all of his chances. He squandered it, wasted it and all that. I mean, there's no way he's going to get away from this unless eFFoFF apparently manages to screw up big time.
Mechanized has their orders. They will now take and hold.
So there you go. But of course, apparently some people for some reason felt, well, I need to show it all. So here we go. I mean, these last few minutes are absolutely not exciting.
At this rate, we'll be taking Berlin by Christmas.
I mean, I might as well speed it up because there's well not going to be much happening. A small infantry assault over open ground. Panther there. Come on. Bit of artillery first. And then moving in the infantry, at least that's how you probably do it. But of course the Pershing doesn't bloody care. And there's a mine. Infantry team lost. Grenadiers right out in the open, 1 down. Others going to go down as well. They need to retreat. And Grenadiers will be lost as well, thanks to OhaYoda's great skills. There we go. Panther right there. Needs to get away. Tries to duel with the Panther. With the Pershing, actually. And of course now the Pack 38 gets recruited as well, increasing the amount of anti-tank fire against the Panther. Panther needs to retreat. Mortar rounds flying.
Enemy unit down.
Pioneer team lost. Grenadiers providing covering fire. Panther scores a kill finally. And then I suspect not much will be happening again, while apparently OhaYoda tries to put something together. In the meanwhile, defenses will be prepared. Forward barracks, anti-tank guns moving forward. Anti-tank guns getting repaired, never fires. Nothing again, highly interesting. None of it hits. Austrian flak Panzer because that's going to help against the Pershing, right? No. I mean, he needs more Panthers if he wants us even a slight chance of breaking through, but he isn't getting more Panthers. Even a Panzer 4. Sandbags going down here. Mortars firing. German mortars setting up. M8 forced away. Nebelwerfer fires.
200 points left.
German moves in. Infantry team completely cleared out in seconds by the Pershing. Now the Grenadier team gone. Panther and Austria not move much. German flanking in. And there we go. OhaYoda rather realizing he needs to get out of there in a rather quick rush before he gets picked up and sent to the Eastern Front. I mean, that was pretty much wasteful. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? I mean, I certainly could use some higher level replays, but of course, apparently a lot of people all talk, no results. So there you go, of course. What the devil can we learn from this? I mean, really, one of the major problems here was, of course, one of, you know, when to run, when to fight. I mean, OhaYoda constantly kept fighting when he should have run. And then at times he ran when he should have fought. He didn't support his units properly. I mean, he kept MG42s out in very silly places where they could easily have been outflanked and were outflanked. He lost units repeatedly because of that. He moved a half track not towards the PaX 38 and safety, but instead placed it right out in the middle where the M8 could easily catch up with it and knock it out. Nebelwerfer wasn't used properly. The LMG42s weren't even used properly. I mean, if you want to use them, use them. I mean, stand still with units and have them fired. Don't constantly run about. I mean, you can use them on the attack, but of course it involves standing still with them, not running up to your enemy where you don't get anything out of it. So, I mean, Christ. Terrible tactics. And then, of course, he went for defensive rather than blitzkrieg or terror, which probably could have helped him more. No medic bunkers either. That would certainly also have helped him, particularly with those losses he suffered. But really, the main problem was, again, sort of terrible tactics, terrible unit preservation, terrible handling of infantry, and terrible handling of armor. I mean, he had some good ideas in the start, but it all sort of fell apart because he couldn't manage much. On the other hand, we saw very aggressive mining from eFFoFF, good usage of his armor, good use of his infantry, although he needed to stop attacking from here when there's an MG42 able to cover it and sort of flank in through there. That would certainly have helped him quite a bit, plus other bits. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'm glad. So cheers.